A question that I'm often asked is, Sarah, how do I move from being a peer to a manager of the same team? First, if you are watching this and you are thinking this is a question that you need answered, congratulations! Congratulations on being promoted. Congratulations on being recognized for the work you do. Okay, now let's talk about the drama you're about to step into. No, I'm just kidding. Anytime we move into that leadership position, especially the first one, there's a whole host of challenges we face, but the reality is it is different when you used to be a team member and now you're leading that team. So I want to share with you a couple of tips, some traps that we fall into, and some very specific practices you can do to hopefully make that transition more effective, not just for you, but also for them. So here's the first tip: practice intellectual humility. When we practice intellectual humility, we acknowledge that there are things we just don't know. One of the traps that I see people fall into when they move from being a member of the team to now overseeing it is that they hold on to all the expertise, which isn't a bad thing. I want to be very clear here. You were promoted likely because you were technically very proficient. But where it becomes a trap is that you only rely on what you knew or how you used to do it. And we may say things like, well, when I was doing it, we never had these issues. Or when I was doing it, we used to do it this way and we ended as a period. You can still say that, but then open it up to a question. Well, when I did that, that wasn't the process, but maybe it's changed, so help me understand it. Or better yet, what do you think we should do in this moment? Because here's the thing, a really good way to build trust is not to give your wisdom, but it's to call forth theirs. And here's the other reality, is that while you are an expert now, the further you move away from the tasks, from the process, your expertise is going to be replaced with different expertise. And so it will become really important for you to lean on your team to get their thoughts about how to move forward. Tip number 2. Call the damn elephant out. This is a trap that I see people fall into all the time, where they don't talk about the fact that this is a new relationship, that this is going to create different dynamics, that it's going to create different challenges. So instead of avoiding it, instead of tiptoeing around it, have the conversation. And here's some ways you can have that conversation in a way that will make it even more productive. 1, start with sharing your appreciation and excitement about how you still get to work together. That I'm really excited that we still get to partner together. I know that our roles are a little bit different now, but I'm excited for where we can go with this. 2, recognize that there might be some real losses, and maybe your colleague wanted the position too and didn't get it, and they need some time to process that loss, or that they're afraid they're going to lose you as a friend, or whatever the case is. And so have a conversation about what's going on with you when you think about this. Here's what's going on with me. And then the third thing is where we get to design or co-create this partnership. So asking questions like, what would make this a powerful partnership for you? What do you want from me as a leader? What is something I need to be aware of that maybe I'm not thinking about? And the deeper you can go into that conversation, the better the likelihood that you'll both leave feeling much better, right? So just have the conversation, not from your head, but from your heart. Now, part of this conversation is our third tip, which is setting clear expectations and boundaries around what does this relationship look like. Because the reality is you will be privy to information now in your position of authority that you may or may not be able to share with your team. And there also may be conversations that you shouldn't be a part of that they're having. I've experienced this, and when I was moved into a leadership role, we were going through some pretty significant changes. And I could tell that, my team and my colleagues and some of my friends were trying to pull information from me. And I just simply said, hey, listen, I know that this is a hard time right now. It's not easy for me either. And I just appreciate, if you would just understand that there's just information I can't share right now. And as soon as we can, we will. Don't be surprised if you get a little resistance when you set those boundaries, because it's not just the relationship you have with that person now you need to think about. You need to think about the relationship you have with all of your team members, with the rest of the company and the work you're expected to do. No one said leadership was going to be easy, and if they did, don't believe them. Leadership is hard, it's messy, and quite frankly, sometimes leadership is just lonely. But my hope is taking some time to follow these tips will set you up for greater success. If you have a question you'd like to see us answer, go ahead and tag me on social media and use #chronicallycurious. Until then, happy learning. Now get back to work.